People that own rental properties always want to know how to deal with tenants that don't pay rent. It's one of the greatest fears that keeps people from investing in real estate. But what if there was a way to make sure that you have tenants that pay you every single month? Let's go. I hate not having tenants that pay rent. And what I'm going to do in this video is give you the 5 things you can do to make sure that doesn't actually happen to you. And make sure that you stick around to the end because I have a free gift for you that will help you as you continue to grow your portfolio and you can continue to make more money month after month after month. The first thing you can do to make sure you don't have actual tenants that don't pay you is make sure you rent well. But the best offense is often a great defense. And I want to tell you that for your units, one of the best way to not deal with something on the back end is to have a really good process on the front end and a strict renting process to make sure you put a tenant in there that can actually afford your rent every single month. Our property managers have really strict guidelines to make sure before they rent to a tenant, they vetted that tenant very well and make sure they're somebody that can fit our community, that really can fit the kind of unit we're renting to them, and most importantly, they can afford it. Part of this is making sure you screen their income. Make sure they make enough money to support the kind of rent they're paying. My rule of thumb is I don't like to rent to tenants where the rent is larger than 25% of their monthly income. This will help you make sure that they have enough money to pay rent. Or at least it's not 25% of their combined monthly income with the people living in the house. But this point also speaks to your hiring process for a property manager. One of the things you want to know is how do they screen tenants? What is their actual tenant screening process? Do they do background checks? Do they check income? Do they check references? They should be doing all 3, by the way. Our property managers have a really strict process, and it's pretty hard to get into our units. And the reason we do that is we make it hard to get in so we don't have to get them out. I've actually found that good property managers have strict processes of who they will rent out to because remember, who's chasing the tenant if they don't pay? The property manager, and they don't get any more money for that chasing. So they vet them hard on the front end to make sure they don't have to chase them on the back end because they get no extra revenue for collecting rent. If you also want to learn what a really good property manager does, make sure you click the card in the corner of the screen so you can be taken to another video where we walk you through how to hire a good manager and what a good one looks like. The second way to make sure you have tenants that pay is have multiple payment options. Of course, you have the payment option where they can bring you cash or send you a check. But this also helps tenant pay if they just simply can't get to you or can't get to there on time. Not only are we interested in having them paying, we want them to pay on time. So of course we can allow them to pay through cash, but another form is make sure they can make debit payments. They may have the cash in the bank, but they haven't gotten to you or forgot to drive it to you or forgot to send out the check, and it gives them another way to make sure they can transfer that money. The other thing you can use is any of the online payment platforms. There's Venmo and Apple Pay and a lot of other platforms that you can leverage that basically are money transfer apps where they can transfer money that's in their account simply to you. We want to make it as easy for our tenants to pay as possible, so we provide multiple payment options so they can pay any way that truly fits their lifestyle and fit what they're doing. The third way to make sure you have tenants that pay is to institute late fees. I know this one may sound a bit negative, but sometimes the potential for paying is a great driver for progress. And so what I want you to see is instituting late fees provide pain to the point of not paying, and it reminds people to make sure they send you their rent. I like to say late fees keep you in people's calendar because what that does, people remember if I don't pay this, I'm actually going to have to pay more for no more value. Nobody likes to just throw money away. And if they don't pay on time, they're going to throw money away because that late fee is going to kick into effect. But one of the keys with late fees is you have to enforce them. If somebody brings you their rent a day late and you just say, don't worry about the late fee, what that does is it trains your tenants that the late fees don't really matter. They're on the lease, but they never are in effect in reality. What I've realized, if you have late fees, you only have to enforce them once or twice, and people realize you're serious, and they'll come and they'll make sure that they pay on time. Before I go on to the next video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also hit that bell notification so you get notified every time we do a video, which is every single weekday. The fourth one may be a little hard to hear, but it's the idea that we don't allow stories to dictate our response. And here's the point. A lot of tenants will come and tell you the reason they couldn't pay or the reason they couldn't pay on time. What that does is it trains tenants when they're late, all they need is a story to match it, and then therefore they don't have to pay the late fees. What I want you to do is simply remain stoic in the policy. Simply say, listen, it's due on the 1st. We give you a 3-day grace period, so it's not like if you don't pay the 1st, you're out. but on day 4, late fees kick in. So you keep that in effect, and then your tenants begin to align with your policy. If you listen to every story and allow those stories to change the way you respond, tenants will simply get used to making sure they have a story along with their late rent. But the truth is, we care about people, period. We care about people. I want to work with people. I want to help people. But I also want to make sure that we have policies in place that support our business and support what we're doing. And I believe our policies actually help people become successful, yes, even our tenants. Because the truth of the matter is, you can't achieve any success in life without doing what you say. And by helping tenants do that, I'm continuing to push them to greatness as well. I believe having a policy that makes them better is the best thing I can do for them and our business. But if you do have a tenant that comes and can't pay, what we like to do is partner with them in helping them find assistance. Because again, we care about people. It costs a lot to do an eviction. I don't want to kick anybody out. It ruins their credit and really makes it hard for them to get another place. I would rather have them stay here with their credit intact and continue on with life. And so what we want to do is come alongside them. So if they can't pay, and maybe they even do have a story, and maybe the story's legit, instead of listening to that story, I want to get solution oriented. Said, okay, I understand what's happened. What if we got you some assistance to make sure that you can afford this rent every single month? What that does is it continues to humanize you as a company, but it also gives them an out and gives them the ability to get their rent paid. The 5th tip is to overemphasize communication. I will work with tenants all day long that are communicating with me. When tenants go dark and start to ghost our managers and won't respond to any emails, texts, or phone calls, that's when we get a little more forceful to remove them from a unit. So I really reference this on the front end to let them know if something happens, you need to communicate with us. The more you communicate with us, the more we're going to be able to help you. The less you communicate with us, the more we begin to say we just need to get this tenant out of our unit. And we really don't want to see that happen. But again, because it's a communication piece, we also want to clearly communicate that on the front end. We want to clearly communicate to our tenants in the application process and the tenancy process that we care about you, but you have to communicate with us if something happens. So don't just ghost us and go dark, because then we don't know what's happened to you and we simply move forward with the eviction process. Just as a quick bonus tip, speak well of your tenants. Tenants are the only thing that keeps our businesses afloat. Tenants are the lifeblood to our companies. I know a lot of owners that talk about their tenants in very ill way. They talk about their tenants saying, man, it'd be great to own properties if you didn't have to deal with the tenants, knowing that you can't own properties without them. I'm here to say, speak well of your tenants. They are the gold that lives within our company. We care about them, we're here to serve them, but we also are here to run a business. So I want you to continue in your mind to start speaking well of your tenants. It's amazing, the worse people speak of their tenants, the more problems they have. The energy you put out in the world comes back to you, because when you're speaking well of your tenants, often better tenants show up to rent your properties. Also, I want to give you a free gift for tuning in today. I want to give you our free multifamily masterclass. Down below, if you click the link in the description, you're going to be taken to a free 60-minute training where I walk you through the 5 things you need to do to get your next or first piece of multifamily real estate in 71 days or less. I'll see you in the training.